Excited to be here. Conversation I'm excited about. Our prep work, I feel like we needed about 2 or 3 hours here, but we have 30 minutes. So we plan on talking about marketing with a purpose, and I think there's no better organization right now that's doing this in the NFL. So we'll be getting into that and exactly what that means, some tangible examples of how they do it. And I think I was chosen for this panel based on where I work. I'm in a company called TextNow. We're the largest free provider of phone service in the US, and we are a very purposeful, mission-driven type company to give the underserved communities access to free communication. But we're not here to talk about us. We're here to talk about you. These things are just some very nice similarities. So why don't we kick things off with a pretty easy question here? What is the role that the NFL intentionally plays in shaping the perceptions around diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how do you show you're taking it seriously?
Yeah. Thanks, Josh, and happy to share the stage with you. And I really want to thank Brand Innovators for having me. I actually was here last time, I think, where our CMO, Tim Ellis, was giving a presentation. I thought it was really well done, so really happy to be here. So when it comes to DEI and what that means at the NFL, one is it is a diversity, equity, and inclusion is like a core value and value proposition for the NFL. For us, it is absolutely critical. For us, we are a brand that's a very strong brand. We have 180 million fans in the United States. We have over 400 million fans internationally. Yes, that's good. We think we can actually be better. In order for us to continue to have success, we have to have a commitment, and we actually incorporate DEI in the way that we do things. We feel that without it, we're not going to get the best business solutions possible as a football league, as a global brand. And for us, we also feel with our platform that we can be an organization for change and unify. And again, and also when we look at our growth, all of our growth in the United States is basically going to come from diverse groups. So if we are not making this commitment, if we're not intentional, and if it's not a part of how we operate every day, then we feel we will not be our best selves, which means that we would be losing. And that's unacceptable.
Yeah. So I've had many conversations at various marketing organizations that talk the talk, some walk the walk, others don't. But when the two of us spoke, you gave me so many examples of how this is really integrated into your day-to-day. And so why don't we give this audience here just a little glimpse into how the sausage is made?
Sure. Again, I joined the organization in September of 2020. The NFL has been working in the area and doing things as it relates to diversity, equity, inclusion for a while. I think that what we were missing is kind of having a holistic approach. We didn't have like one strategic plan that all of us could come together at the league office, at the clubs, club membership, all come together under one plan and start working on things to enhance our organization. We started to do that in 2020. With that, I call it, we have to have a strategy. So one, really understanding the vision of the commissioner and putting together a strategic plan that really can connect and unite the full ecosystem of the National Football League. Those are the club owners, those are the employees, those are the senior executives, anyone that is a direct member of the family, so to speak. That is what we needed, that strategy. So we did that. The other part about it is having a structure. And so having a structure which deals with how are we able to have a vision, but also how can we ensure execution? One, having enough headcount at the league office, but also ensuring that we have that at the clubs as well. So at the league office, it started, we only had 2 people focused on this. We now have 6. We also at the clubs, we have 32 clubs, which I hope everybody knows here. Every club has a DEI lead. You tell me there is no other sports league in the world that has DEI leads. That's just how we feel that it's important for us to drive it. That's how important it is. We are invested in it. The other part of it too is when we have a strategic plan, we have a cascading approach. So we have a plan that it's people, culture, community, and learning. Those are our pillars. But then each major business unit leader, all of our EVPs and some of our SVPs with significant responsibilities has their own strategic plan, which that follows under the umbrella of those four pillars. And then they have to put measurable goals, which they are then at the end of the year. That we review those. We have progress of plan meetings every quarter, and then I give each one of those leaders a rating, which then goes to our commissioner, and it impacts their bonus. In addition, all 32 clubs has their own strategic plan, meet with them, and also there is a level of accountability. So how well they do, that's a conversation that then goes to the president and club membership. Every league meeting, I report out our DEI work. So for us, when you're talking about this work, it has to really touch all areas of our business. It has to be structured. There has to be clarity, and there has to be accountability.
Yeah, that's amazing. I feel like the easiest way to make someone accountable, tie it to their bonus. And so for the league to agree to this and for the owners to agree to this, it's you could already see the changes that have happened. It would be great if you could speak to, so there's been a very big concerted effort to show inclusion in your marketing. And so tying back to marketing with a purpose, the Super Bowl spot this year was great as a fantasy football player, right? And then as
who saw the Super Bowl commercial?
Who saw the Super Bowl?
Well, it was unique. I think it surprised a lot of people. But continue, Josh.
Yeah. So, would like to hear about that commercial. There's some previous commercials about the first openly gay athlete in the NFL. We talked about fantasy football in third world countries.
Yes.
Lots of different, very, very intentional types of marketing, and maybe speak to how you think about the distribution of that marketing.
Yeah, there's a lot there. First and foremost, I am not a marketer, but I work with some really good ones. I mentioned that our chief marketing officer is Tim Ellis. I work very closely with him. We have some amazing marketing executives as well. Andy Kaufman, Marissa Solis, Ian Trombetta. I feel I've worked at a lot of different companies. This is by far the strongest marketing team I have seen. What I love about them, and it goes to what we were talking about overall as a philosophy, is with them and marketing, they refuse to bifurcate areas of inclusion. That just does not work. And really, when Tim came in, he really kind of set the stage of driving it that way, which is really powerful. So for them, when they are doing marketing spots and a variety of other things as it relates to connecting to our fan base, it's just a natural way of operating. It's really built off of three major things. One is we want to grow our fan base. We want to grow reach. We're reach. We still see a tremendous amount of opportunity. And for us, I told you already, we know that the vast majority, when we look at our growth, it is really with diverse groups. And whether it's in the U.S. with youth, whether it's the Latinx community, whether it's women, 48% of our fans are women. That surprises a lot of people, but
Taylor Swift effect.
The Taylor Swift effect, certainly there is an effect, and it certainly helped us. But so in the U.S., we look at continuing to expand reach. We want the fans we have to be more avid. We want to pull in more fans. We know that those more fans are going to come from groups that are diverse, and I speak diverse broadly. We also know that there's a lot of growth globally. That's fundamentally how we want to drive our efforts as it relates to kind of like the U.S. Then global, we know we're having games in Brazil, Mexico, Germany, the U.K. In order to do that, you have to, of course, a generalized approach. I was at the AI session, which I thought was really good. I do think a generalized approach is good, but we also very much have a targeted approach, and that's to ensure that we're welcoming to groups that may not have felt like we were welcoming them in the past, and also finding ways to pull groups into the incredible game of football in a better way than we've done in the past. So that is the key, and we do that through inclusivity and a commitment to social responsibility and social justice as well.
Yeah, so that's been a really big piece of TextNow. We've been around for 15 years, and we figured the best place to start is to have community partnerships with people that actually need the free phone service. So we have lots of government programs, many additional things, and we feel like that's really helped us with a grassroots connection. So would love to hear more about some of the community partnerships that the NFL does, and something that stuck out you mentioned is not just for a logo.
Yes.
When you partner with someone, you have to hold that partner accountable and you really integrate. So how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, and I have a partner, my partner in crime on the social responsibility side, Anna Isaacson, who's been there forever. She's done a really wonderful job. We have social change, inspire change. We have our social justice work, inspire change. In 2020, we made a commitment, $250 million over 10 years. We're not even halfway through there, and we're already up to, I believe, $330 million. So we feel really good in terms of our commitment to giving back. We feel like that's a major part of what we do. We have approximately, I think, 34 grantees as it relates to social responsibility alone. We also have a lot of, I would call, diversity-related partners, advocacy partners. The one that I'm really that has been really powerful for us is our partnership with GLAAD. There's other organizations like the Trevor Project and many others that we connect with as well. But GLAAD is really incorporated in everything that we do. They help us with inclusion training. They meet with our marketing team to assist us with our marketing efforts. They meet with our content, NFL Films, NFL Network. They're meeting with the international team as well to talk about the work we're doing there, in addition to supporting our employees as well. We have a very strong pride group, our employee resource group, and they're incorporated into how we operate, and they're making us better. Those are the type of partnerships we want, and that's the type of partnerships we have. For us, it's less about just having a bunch of partners, and it's more about having a true partnership where we are elevating each other and we are aligned in purpose to bring true change, authentic and authentic connection to the work that we're doing.
Yeah. So we'll hit a touchy subject here. The NFL is very inclusive because a lot of your employees and your players come from diverse backgrounds.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, the biggest topic, social justice. After it happened with George Floyd, I feel like there's a lot of divisive opinions, and the NFL did a really good job of letting their players speak their mind.
Yes.
Which I'm sure was very heavily debated. Yes. What was the talk track and thought process of when this first came up, and how do you give your players the flexibility and freedom to express themselves?
Yeah, thanks for asking this, Josh. I think it's really important. We evolve just like every organization is evolving, and hopefully in a positive way. And I think what you see, especially over the last 10 years, is an evolution of really having stronger relationships with our players, allowing our players to be themselves, a helmet off approach so you can see their humanity instead of just their amazing abilities on the football field. And with that, if you're going to look at the humanity of each one of whether it's employees or players or coaches, you have to allow people to express themselves. So self-expression is really, really important. And I think as we've gone more and more of really encouraging our players to use their fandom and to use their platform to really talk about the things that are important to them. And, we haven't always been as open, and I think we all know that. but we are really in a good place now that is encouraged. And it's not just players. I think we really want to encourage all of our employees and all the people that work at the clubs to have that same mindset as well. If we can't be an inclusive environment and set the standard as it relates to the sports industry if we're not allowing self-expression. So that is really, really important. I do also think that, everything that went on in 2020, luckily for me, I was well on the way of talking to the NFL and about this role and everything prior to the murder of George Floyd. But certainly that moment, we were able to utilize that moment to really up our game and have a sense of urgency and really understand that our platform it can really drive change. And for us, want to emphasize this too, because I feel like this is part of what you're saying too. We are not backing down from our efforts in DEI. That in no shape or form, we're leaning in more than we ever have. We fundamentally believe we cannot be the organization we are today or want to be, are going to be in the future without a continued commitment. So regardless of the other stuff that's going on outside of our world, we're going to continue to be committed to DEI, and we're going to continue to use our platform for everyone to see that DEI is good for everyone, it's for the benefit of everyone, and it will lead us, organizations, to better profitability, more innovation, more creativity, and it is the reality of the world.
I was going to save this for the end, but since you brought this up, one of the interesting things that already happened this morning, you had Unilever up here and you had the GroupM investment leads that talked about their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And they said this is not just to look good or to check a box, but they said it's just good business.
Yeah.
Two of us have joked about when you go to any marketing conference, you have Mark Pritchard up there who says if you're not investing in DE&I, your brand's not growing. And it's nice to hear that it's a good thing to do. It's the right thing to do. But at the end of the day, it's a business decision to continue growing your business.
Yes. And one thing too, Josh, as you were saying that, I did not talk about our spots. So the work, I just wanted to go a little deeper on the work that our marketing team's doing. So if you look at the Super Bowl spot, Born to Run, and then it happens in Ghana. And then people are like, what the hell? Why is it in Ghana? Well, we don't do anything mistakenly so. There's a lot of thought into that. Why? Because we have football academies which are spread across the world. One of them is in Africa that focuses on encouraging people to play football. We have past players and current players that came from the continent of Africa that are in the National Football League. We want more. We want people from every continent to be playing the game and to eventually go and become players, whether it's college, high school, or even at the NFL. So we also know that we have a lot of fans or a lot of people that don't quite know what American football is, and we're going to pull them in. We are, as Dion would say, we are coming. We are coming. So of course, you got Mexico, Canada, United States. Everyone knows about the National Football League. Just wait. You're going to start to see all over the world. People are going to know about American football and also our efforts around flag. You look at the spot prior to that with Diana Flores last year, incredible flag player, champion in Mexico. We want flag football to be played everywhere, all around the world. It is going to be it's an Olympic sport in 2028 in Los Angeles. And you all watch, flag football is going to explode. So we use these spots to really convey the message that we are of getting more fandom, to getting more excitement, to getting more people playing and watching the game, and also to drive inclusivity. That's who we want to be fundamentally, and do it authentically.
That's the tough part.
Yes.
Authentically. We also spoke about how there's so many brands that know they have to do it, and they get it's good for business. So they say, this is Pride Month, we'll put a Pride spot out. This is Black History Month, we'll put a Black History spot out. How do you ensure you're not just popping in and out of cultural moments.
Yes.
And show and prove to those communities that you're really marketing with a purpose and you care about them.
Yeah, I'll talk about the way we look at it. And I also am hoping that, I've been doing this for a while, and I hope, and maybe a little bit of advice as well. I am still a believer in leaning in on Heritage Months. I don't think we should not be doing things at Heritage Months. If you're really committed, that should be natural, organic, and authentic anyway. So when there are particular Heritage Months and you really want to do some programming and other things and spots, that's great. But the way we look at it, we call it, 7 days, 365, is that we do inclusive programming regardless of the demographic all year round. So we're doing things in regards to the LGBTQ community throughout the year. We're doing things in regards to the Black community throughout the year. With the Asian community, throughout the year. We don't look at it and say, oh my gosh, it's February, now we can do all our Black stuff. That's not the way. Unfortunately, though, I say this and it's funny, but there are some organizations that do that. And that is not the way you do this. It needs to be, if it's going to be natural, organic, authentic, drive this all the time. Talk about these issues all the time. Make it a natural part of the way your organization operates. And then what you'll do is you'll pull in everybody. Make everyone a part of this. I tell this all the time. DEI does not have a political party. This has nothing to do. It's not a political thing. It's a human thing. So as long as we continue to emphasize that point, that is where you're going to see success in your organizations, because we certainly have.
Great. And then I think we should talk about what you do internally that helps lead to purpose-driven marketing, right? So a lot of people in this room probably 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, when there were ERGs around this topic, probably rolled their eyes. They start to participate, their company teaches them, and it kind of triggers something inside that helps them think and act differently. I know the NFL has invested a lot of money and a lot of effort. So why don't you share with this room some of the ERGs that the NFL does and how that has helped lead to change?
Yeah, so we have 9 ERGs. They're incredible. The people that lead those groups put in a lot of work. I call it's their day job. In fact, those that go above and beyond, we provide an inclusion bonus to our employees that really go above and beyond as it relates to DEI work, and a lot of it's related to ERGs. One thing that's really, really important is you want to provide clarity around what an ERG is and what an ERG is not. So that's one of the key things. What they are is they are culture. They're agents, culture changers. They are ones that push us to our ideal. But we don't utilize ERGs to get involved with political matters or other things outside of the league office. It's directly connected to our business objectives, and it's connected to ensuring that everyone has that sense of belonging in the organization. It's been very, very helpful. And we also connect it directly with senior leadership. So every year, each ERG reports out to the commissioner and the senior leadership team about what they're doing, the impact that they're having, and also any concerns that they have in the organization. We also have an inclusive content committee that's run by many of the leaders of the ERGs as well. So a lot of our content can go to them, and they'll share spots, and they also provide advice as well. So ERGs are absolutely critical to how we operate and how eventually we're going to elevate our inclusiveness as an organization.
Appreciate that. So that was some heavy topics, some great topics. Why don't we maybe cover some light stuff? Looks like we have 5 minutes left. I'll do a rapid fire with you, and then we'll do some questions in the crowd. Biggest surprise on draft day. You're going into Detroit right after this, so thank you for coming in. Thank you for gracing us with your time here. What's the surprise prediction that you have for the draft?
Well, one, the surprise prediction, whatever I say, I have no inside information.
Jonathan
I
the
am
fan,
a
not
fan.
the
I've been a
NFL
fan since I was
employee.
4 years old. What I do believe is this will be one of the most exciting drafts you will ever see. We have incredible talent, incredible wide receivers, incredible quarterbacks. I do believe that you're going to see a huge run on the edge rushers, receivers, quarterbacks, and I think there will be some shocking picks. This is just my thought. Over the first two rounds, I think there are going to be some people that are quite shocked. Oh, wow, this person went really high, or it happens every year, but especially this year because the talent is so rich. But also, I think there's going to be runs on particular roles, positions, which may lead to some individuals maybe getting picked a little bit early. But I am extremely excited. I've never been more excited to see a draft than this year. The talent's amazing.
Likewise, I'm a Commanders fan. We definitely need help. If you were to play in the NFL, what is your dream position?
Oh, wow. Well, look, my favorite two players, Charles Woodson and Deion Sanders. So cornerback. I played cornerback. I played cornerback in high school. Played receiver in college, but I'll always be a corner. I love that position, so certainly would be cornerback.
Why don't we ask the crowd if they have questions?
Hi, my name's Greg from Hudson Yards. This was great. I think it's really awesome the work you're doing with GLAAD and the LGBTQ community. I'm curious, since there's currently no out player in the NFL, how would that change things for you from a DE&I perspective? I'm curious if you already have a plan in place let's just say a star player were to come out, and then how you would kind of put that into action.
Yeah, I mean, one, I can't tell you how much I respect Carl Nassib as well, who is somebody actually I speak to pretty often. When he retired, I certainly was bummed. We do. It's obviously it's gonna happen sooner rather than later. In my view, we already kind of have a footprint in terms of what's the in terms of how the league should engage and how the clubs should engage. Look, the Raiders and Tampa Bay Buccaneers were absolutely amazing when he came out. He was with the Raiders, then he moved to the Buccaneers. I think it is he has led the way and put together a way of operating in terms of in expectation from the clubs that I think will make it much easier for the person or persons, I would say, that come after him. I think one thing that's really interesting, and he said this publicly, so I don't mind sharing it, is that what he noticed is when he did come out and he said his teammates were amazing, but then there was like always this thought of, don't want to make sure I say something inappropriate and all of that. But he said the thing that really was a game breaker was having more women, because we have 12 full-time women coaches in the NFL, which I think is the largest any male league in the world. But we have and the Buccaneers had 2 full-time coaches. Having that environment made the environment much better for him. So one thing leads to the other. That's what I'm trying to emphasize, that this is not a you win, you lose. This is about, truly what DEI is, which I think a lot of society is still trying to figure out what it is. It's about bringing people together. It's providing an environment which allows people to shine. It is one that truly emphasizes the differences that we all have and celebrates it. That's what it is. It's not about separating or having one person get this and the other one get that. So that is, when he said that, it really blew my mind, because it really leads to how this is all connected. It's not a one thing. You focus here, and then after that, you focus there. You have to focus on it all. And then that will hopefully lead to us being better and also larger society being better.
Do we have time for one more?
That was great. If we have one more question, we could take a quick one here. Anybody?
That's a great question.
Yes.
My question just is a little bit of a tangent, but as NFL's gotten more international, so as you think of the games in Mexico and Europe, does that overlap your responsibility at all?
Absolutely. So with my work, it's wonderful because I get to connect with everything that we're doing. Our international growth, all of our clubs, our corporate partners, our sponsors, our media partners. It really addresses all that. So the person that runs, Garrett, who runs international, and Peter O'Reilly that runs all of it, our events and also international, work very heavily with them. And as we plan to continue to grow internationally, we talk about DEI all the time. How can we ensure that we show up in the right way? Are we taking into account specific cultures? So you can have the best content, which is football. It's content, it's entertainment. But if it's not relevant and welcoming and make a connection to specific cultures that you're coming into, you're not going to get the optimal result. So that you have to have a very strong and inclusive effort strategy and think it through. So completely work with them. They're incorporating all of that into our efforts to grow internationally. Thanks for the question.
Well, how about a round of applause? This was a fantastic session.
Good job.